Hello everyone, welcome back to the career mode. This is episode 1. We're at Bahrain. I hope you all like the last episode, the creation of the team, Project Race GP. Going into qualifying, rounding the last corner, not the best exit, but we'll see how it goes by the end of the lap. I hope you will enjoy the episode and let me know what you think. So as I say, going into qualifying, going to be trying to set the fastest lap we can. I doubt we'll be going through to Q2, considering we are the third worst car on the grid. Massively overshoot the apex of the right hander, which has made us very slow in terms of traction and straight line speed into the next corner, taking way too much inside curve on the downhill left as well. Compared to locking up, it wasn't as bad, but still not optimal in terms of the line that we've taken. Use as much outside curve to try and make this right-hander as straight line as possible. I could have maximised the exit a lot more, but I was struggling for traction through the right-hander on the exit. Good run through the right, and then a very thin next right-hander as well as we come on to the next straight, which has made us carry a lot of momentum. Again, using as much outside curve as possible to finish the lap. I could have used a little bit more inside curve and got on the traction a lot earlier there, but it is what it is. Activating zero as soon as we cross the line, and it's a 1:31.3, which does put us last. So, coming around the final corner to start our second flying lap, there is a bit of traffic in front, hopefully we don't gain too much to the point where we start getting dirtier. I had a good run through the last corner, as you can see, we're flashing between green and red, but we are gaining time. Braking a little bit earlier, but hitting the apex nice and tight, keeping it as tight as we can through both the left and the coming right. Up into 5th, we are a bit down. We're going to try and make some up through the next right-hander, braking again, roughly at the 100-meter ball, try to brake a bit later, and as you can see, we run a bit wide. Lost 3/10, but due to the straighter line we get on exit, we've gained back those tenths. We've gone green again, much nicer through the left and then the right, keeping the foot planted, braking a lot nicer through here, hitting almost the apex, but a lot tighter, and you can see we gained 3/10 through there, dropping a bit since we have more momentum on exit on the previous lap, but a much nicer run through this downhill left, hitting the apex nice and sweet. Good traction out of the corner as well. We've gained 6/10 on our previous time. This is going to be a very good lap if we can keep this together. Braking roughly at the flag board, much nicer exit, maximising as much of the track as we can. You can see we're 8/10 up. Very sketchy through the right though, as you can see I might have left it up a bit there. But unfortunately we understeered massively off the apex and we end up going wide and losing traction, so we've dropped 3/10 back down to 5/10, 5.5. A good run through the last corner will put us solidly ahead of our teammate, possibly even ahead of one or two of the Aston Martins. Good run through the last corner, could have taken the apex a bit better on the traction, but 5/10 puts us in P16, which at that time will take us through to Q2. Over to the race we go though.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best, of course, at turn 1 and then another soon after into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Sainz, George Russell, and Hamilton. Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Ricciardo, and Kevin Magnussen. Ocon, Mick Schumacher, Pierre Gasly, and Tsunoda. Vettel, Roberts, Nicholas Latifi, and Guan Yu Zhou. Norris, Stroll, ticked him, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So lining up on the grid, looking through the strategy, also checking to see what other drivers are going to be doing as well. If I can choose the same strategy as the drivers ahead, perhaps we might be able to keep up with them, especially if we keep DRS. DRS is massive at this track. You can gain tenths a lap if you manage to stay within DRS, and messing around with the strategy to see how the hard stuff goes, but it says 3.6, 3.7 seconds slower. So I figure I'll just match them, maybe go a lap early so to get the undercut. But you know, if we do what the drivers ahead do, then all we need to do is keep pace with them, and then we should be able to match, if not beat them, over a race distance. Gonna have to get as much temperature into our tyres as possible. You want to aim for about 92 degrees, roughly, I think, for an optimal start. Some people will tell you to do 100, but personally I think 100 is a bit hot for me. I found a good launching technique with this strategy energy anyway, although as you can see, getting a lot of wheel spin since the tyres are very cold at around 70 degrees when you start the formation lap. Bringing up the MFD, you can see the internal 69 on the front and then 75 on the rear. So lots of burnouts, lots of quick change of direction to try and get some tyre tension, but we'll skip to the end of the formation lap here. Parking up, see we've got the tyres to about 90 degrees on the rear internal and about 90 on the front as well, which is optimum. Trying to get as much heat into the tyres, trying to time it right. Gonna have about 85, a bit cold on the fronts, if I'm honest, and perhaps on the rears as well. But here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, clutched in, and it's away, short shifting into second and third. We get an amazing start compared to Vettel and Tsunoda as well. You can see we're going to try and get ahead of Tsunoda coming into the braking zone, but he blocks us off. So we're going to send it down the inside of both of the AlphaTauris, look to the inside of Schumacher as well, but we can't quite get it down to second. We're going to have a short shift up third if we want to keep traction. Can't get ahead of Gasly though. Tsunoda looks up our inside momentarily, but we block him off. And that is 2 position gain off the start alone. A semi-decent exit of the next corner. We're going to try and follow Gasly for as long as we can. He's considerably faster in qualifying, so if we can keep the pace with him, it's going to be very good. But you can see already before the braking zone how much of a gap they were creating. You can see some fighting up ahead. We want to be up those positions. Unfortunately, due to being in the third worst car, it's going to be quite difficult to gain those positions. Since it's first laps, we're always going to be gaining a lot through the braking zones. However, that is only going to be worse, and later on in the race, as you can see, is all of our overtake, but Tsunoda has the overspeed and that AlphaTauri. He looks to the inside, he sends it down the inside, shifting down to 4, keeping it around the outside. We need to out traction him as we do keep it around the outside, but you can see Gasly's almost a second ahead of us now in 1 lap. So keeping DRS on the cars ahead is going to be very difficult as we hit the apex very nicely there. Keeping DRS, like I said, is very important in this track. It can help you overtake, it can help you defend, so that is going to be crucial to gaining places or just keeping our current position. Really wide through the last corner, we've had to use a lot of curb, which makes traction even harder, and Tsunoda's already looking up our inside before the start finish line. And he's already ahead. That AlphaTauri is unbelievably good from the straight line. You can see Guan Yu Zhou behind in the Alfa Romeo. He's going to look to the inside as well. You can see that proximity marker go red, and we've lost 2 positions in 1 straight as well. As you can see, Norris behind also poking in, but we block him off quickly. Going past back Guan Yu Zhou again, using our overtake, but we still can't catch up to Tsunoda, and Schumacher is gaining time on us as well. So already we're being swamped as Norris and Latifi get past Guan Yu Zhou since he had a terrible exit. For the moment, it's going to be keeping up with the cars ahead, but you can see Norris in that Mercedes, Howard, McLaren is gaining a lot on us, using all of our overtake, but he's still breathing past us. We're going to try and switch back him, but we simply can't get the traction. That McLaren is going to be lighter and more aerodynamic, plus having a better engine, there's no way. But we're going to be able to fight, like keeping it in 7th, trying to keep it flat is very dangerous in these cars, considering that it have the downforce levels that the last cars do. But for now, it's just going to be keeping up with the cars ahead, seeing what we can do in terms of overtake or defending, but we've got Guan Yu Zhou behind us, who is obviously going to be fast since it's a Ferrari powered car at a very heavily focused straight line speed track like Monza or Saudi Arabia. Those tracks are going to be very difficult for us as well in the next few races, especially Saudi Arabia. However, we're going to be able to do maybe an upgrade or two to the chassis and or engine. Guan Yu Zhou can't find the room to make a move on us, which is good for the minute. However, we get awful traction and he's less than 2/10 behind us now. He's got DRS, but we do as well. It's not anything compared to that Ferrari engine. We've got 3 worse engine compared to him. It's the 4th engine performance is the worst one, and that Ferrari is either first or second at this point. We try and get a switch back, but loose end on Guan Yu Zhou, and now you can see behind us Latifi is in the upper right side as well, and there's another 2 positions lost. We're going to try and keep the traction on the Williams. That Williams is slower than us, so it shouldn't really be difficult to defend from him, but he's using overtake around the outside. Is he going to be able to make a stiffy? He goes outside, and then you can see Sonoda has been spun round on the outside curb as well. Now it's Vettel behind us, and then Ticktum, and a safety car has been deployed in this race. Virtual safety car, pardon me. Oh no, it's been upgraded to a full safety car in this race, which is definitely going to bring us all back together. Perhaps we could get maybe a place or 2 into the first corner, and it will just be defending from there again. We need to get as many overtakes in as we can and park the bus. So advancing to the end in the safety car, right behind Guan Yu Zhou, we've been trying to get tyre temperatures in, getting those internals up, but I don't want to wear the tyres up too much because we still need these tyres to last. Obviously they're going to be able to go a lap or 2 more. Since we've been under safety car, we'll be able to save them a bit. I want to try and wait for as long as we can before switching over to the hards, since our car, is not very good on traction anyway on the mediums, let alone soft, and let alone the hards. Terrible safety car restart, you can see taking way too much inside curb, and overtake isn't going to help us considering we've got the Renault engine. Luckily, behind us Vettel hasn't got a very good restart either, but we're not going to be able to make any moves onto Guan Yu Zhou coming into the first corner, though he does go defensive and we send it around the outside. We lock up and almost go into the back of Norris. We try, massive snapple oversteer as well to add to it, and now Vettel's right on our rear end. Again, less than 2/10 away, and now Guan Yu Zhou's escaping as well. Terrible safety car restart for us as Vettel looks to the inside. There's not much we can do to try and defend except for brake as late as possible and get him on traction. You can see he's keeping his nose in a massive snap of oversteer as well. And he's got past us into the right hander. We're not going to try and defend or overtake into there. It's going to be a dangerous move. He gets a terrible exit and losing the rear as well. So we're going to dive down the inside, a massive send down into third, trying to get the rotation in, but he's got us on traction already on the hard tyres. And now behind us is Ticktum. He's looking to get a move into the downhill left-hander. We're forced all the way to the outside curb. You can see Schumacher boxing us in. There's nothing we can do to defend from Ticktum when we're stuck behind the Haas like that. As you can see, we're using the overtake to try and get past Ticktum around the outside. We're going to force our way around the outside, all the way down to 5th to get some extra rotation. Short shifting up to 5th, trying to get as many revs out as we can though before shifting up, trying to keep it tight. Keeping up with Schumacher, we know we're good through this right hander. Always hitting those apexes, well, most of the time anyway. No oversteer, so it's a clean run through there. We skip on to lap 8. We're still behind Schumacher and we're not able to make any moves just yet. But as you can see running outside, Gasly has spun it on the outside curve and that distracted me and made us go wide. We still deploy DRS, so even while off track, overtake as well, just because we don't want to let Ticktum pass, because he was going to slow us down massively if we let him pass that easily. If we completely shut the door on him, there's no way that we're going to let him overtake us. It will just slow us down in the long run so much, and that would be terrible for our race.
Okay, clear.
An okay exit, a bit of oversteer due to running onto the curb. However, we're looking back, you can see Russell making a move on Ticktum. He's not going to be able to defend from that, considering that Russell's in Mercedes and on the softs compared to Ticktum in our car and on worn medium as well. Rather easy for Russell, who's now on the rear end of us. DRS isn't going to help us that much, and you can see Schumacher ahead as we skip onto lap 9, and he's right behind us now. And we get massive snap of oversteer. We don't have DRS, there's no point in trying to get past or defend from Russell since his car is so much quicker while we're on slower tyres as well. no dramatic moments. There is another safety car, the second one in this race has been deployed. We get that weird glitch and we got to slow down a lot. You see 2 seconds negative, we were a big snap of oversteer that could have easily ended our race there if we weren't careful. Good timing for Russell though, getting past us, not leaving anything for us to defend. However, we are going to take this opportunity to box onto the hards, get a somewhat early pit stop in, hope that the hards can run right to the end, considering the safety car is going to save our tyres for a few laps. So it's not the end of the world. They might be a few percent more worn than they otherwise would be. Coming into the pits, making sure we don't speed, there's no point in risking it at this point. So you can see behind, Tictum has pitted with us as well, which means he's going to be in dead last because of the double stack. See how well we can time this if we get cut off by Norris in the pits. And it's purple, optimal pit stop 2.2 to 2.5 I think that says. Revving it out, and there we go, good exit, and now we're stuck behind Ocon compared to Russell, which is interesting. I'm not too sure what happened to Russell there, perhaps he jumped a few people, perhaps he's still behind us. We skipped to the end of the safety car. Alex Albon is out under safety car conditions, which is terrible news for him, must be an engine failure or something. I'm trying not to wear that much, however, we need the tyre temps off the restart. We hit the apex nicely, going to be jumping on the overtake as soon as we can, considering that Ocon is in the same engine as us. However, you can clearly see that Alpine is a lot quicker in the straight line. They definitely had some upgrades, or just a better Renault engine than us, and we stopped using the overtake quite an see Stroll behind us on the softs. He's sending it down the inside, even though he's in a worse car, there's not much we can do against the softs, considering the delta between the two tyres is massive, and the cars aren't that similar in terms of, very similar in terms of pace. You can see Tictum now with our horrible exit is getting past as well, and I know that Gasly behind us is going to be quicker, and that puts us second to last of running cars, which is awful news compared to where we might have been if we had a better engine off the restart. We might have been able to send 1 or 2 moves into turn 1 and then turn 4. Because we were not letting Tictum keep that place, so we needed to send it down inside of the next overtake opportunity, a massive send. There was no way he was going to be able to defend from that we use overtake. And some semi-defenders, we send it down the inside of Stroll as well, who got a horrible engine who used us no space at the apex. We have to take loads of curve, which compromises our exit as well. You can see the massive stuff of oversteering to 5th and still get an oversteer. Lots of overtaking. Tictum is coming at us again, but we're not going to let him keep it again. There's no way that we're going to let him ahead, he's going to slow us down like I said before. However, he does keep his nose in, but we're going to send it around the outside anyway. We're still side by side, we're both right-handed in the left. We know we're good through here, though, getting good traction in 4th and then 5th. As we skip to the end of that 13, going on to 14, the Gasly is right behind us. There's nothing we can do to Stroll because we don't have DRS. There's no differential measures we can. We stop using overtakes as much as we can, and Gasly goes inside of Stroll as well. Even though he's on the soft, he's not getting away as much as I thought he would have been able to keep with him. Although as you can see on the position list, me and Tictum are both in the 2 last spots, which is definitely not what we want on our first race. If we skip ahead again to 15, we do have DRS activated now, but you can see the gap ahead is gargantuan. We get a good entrance to catch up a lot to Stroll, closing that gap from what looked like over a second or something to less than 5 tenths, although we get a massive type of oversteer which puts us back over to 5 tenths, although we're setting green sectors every single lap again, and the Stroll's got a terrible exit. Send it around the outside of Stroll, and we're going to poke on those, and Gasly gets a horrible apex as well. We get massive traction on the exit pumping overtake. There's no way we're going to let him try to stick it around the outside. We know that AI can't make moves and turn around the outside and goes wide as well. And so does Schumacher as well, and this promotes us to P15 right behind Ocon in 14th. So in a matter of corners, we've gone and gained 3 positions, 2 in 1 and then 1 followed in the next corner as well. Now we're the first car in this DRS train to have DRS. Ocon is the only one ahead, as we see behind. Schumacher sent that massive move, and now he's a second behind us. So now it's a 2-way battle for me and Ocon compared to a 6-7-way battle, or whatever it was, with my teammate involved as well, which is massive for us in this race. It's still not points. However, we want the best position that we can possibly get. We need to make our mark in this career mode in Formula 1 on our first Grand Prix, and I think so far, considering all the action that's been happening, I think we're doing a very, very good job. I think we're a bit too far away to go for a move on Ocon. It would be a massive Daniel Ricciardo descending into the first corner. We don't have any brake upgrades, so it would be very difficult. Plus, I don't think we were close enough anyway. You see, Ocon makes a mistake on the curb as well. The rear end just gets loose as we advance on a bit. This has given us DRS. However, Schumacher has caught back up because he had to take some avoiding action to just be cautious. Yellow flag behind us as well for Ocon, obviously. You know, this is not how he wanted his race to go at all. As we fast forward on to lap 17, Schumacher's looking down our inside. We cut him off at the apex. You know, we want to keep this position for as long as we can. And Vettel ahead his pit as well, so that's an extra free position into lap. Sorry, I can't keep up with everything that's going on. Schumacher gets ahead of us on the straight. There's yellow flags behind us. No, in front of us, sorry. And we don't get good traction. I was going to hope to send it on, and that's when Joe going slowly on the side of the track. Schumacher gets a bit wayward on the outside curb. You can see behind us, and you might have seen in the rearview mirror, Tipton got a terrible exit as well. And that's when Joe stopped in a very cautious place. I wonder if that'll make it 3 safety cars in this race, which would be completely mental, unheard of in the first races in the season. And you can see it has happened. The 3rd safety car is brilliant timing for us. This is a perfect opportunity to chuck some new soft tyres on. We're going to be put into last. However, with the new tyres and the amount of laps left, I think we can go and get some very, very good positions. Possibly even points with how many people that are going to be ahead of us. Esteban Ocon as well has been disqualified now. So that's 17 runners in this race. We've lost 5 people in this race. He's breaking into the pits again. We don't want a penalty this late, so we're going to take it very, very cautious into the pits. We're getting the new softs and I've set them up. Everything's looking good for the minute. Everyone's going to get past us, which is not a problem at all. Let's see how well we can time it. Purple into the pits. It's going to be a very, very, very quick stop, so it's going to be good. Maybe we can even keep a position or two. Perhaps Gasly might be able to get ahead, but both Aston Martins are going to get faster as we see advancing to the end of the safety car. Keeping those tyres warm, I have worn them out a lot more than I thought I would. We're on about 10-15% on some of the tyres, which is not what we wanted. We're going to have to do some tyre saving towards the end of this race, otherwise these tyres could even puncture depending on how bad the temps and the wear is. You can see there I stopped weaving for a second just because I saw just how much we've been wearing them out, and it was a terrible exit again, using too much curb to try and get that good exit. Overtake isn't going to help us much because we're going to be activated very quickly down here. We're not gaining at all. But you can see behind us Gasly is looking to our inside, but we cover it off and then send it down the inside of Ocon as well. We've got these tyres, we need to get as many positions and overtakes done on these softs as we can while they're in this very good state right now, because when they start to get more worn out tyres, you know, they're going to overheat more when they're worn and stuff, so we're not going to be able to even defend. We're going to make a massive move on Vettel, but he moves last minute to send it. We almost went into the back of Tipton. We're lucky we didn't get any damage there. With this car has come alive on these tyres. We can see I'm trying to look in the inside of Tipton at every single opportunity, because what I want to get as many positions as we can. If you send it down both cars, Tipton and Vettel, 2 cars in 1 corner, and obviously we're going to get the traction on Vettel. We do get a little bit of course, but you can see Vettel last minute move to our inside and we get hit by the side. We have to run wide. The next car ahead of us is Russell in the Mercedes. Even though he's on the hards, that Mercedes is going to be very, very quick. So if we can keep up with him on these next laps, it's going to be really crucial when DRS is activated. Perhaps he can even tow us along to make a gap from Vettel, which would be great. You know, we're in P13 right now, which is what we were before the safety car, and we've had 1 lap, less than 1 lap of racing even. You can see we're gaining massively on Russell as he moves to the inside to try and get Schumacher as well. We're watching this from the back and I want to try and capitalise on this, so we're going to brake early into the next corner to try and get a good exit. Lots of curve, very, very good apex, but we just can't get the power down quickly enough. Use an overtake, but we're going to deactivate it because you can see we're not gaining enough speed as we advance to the end of the straight, and we make a good outside move on Schumacher. He's got a terrible exit with Russell overtaking him. We use an overtake, but you can see we don't have the straight on speed, so we're going to have to send really late on the brakes. I have no idea how we even managed to get past Schumacher, let alone almost get Russell as well, as we hit the back of him. We don't get any damage, luckily, as you can see Aston Martin. But that is P12 now in this race. We're going to try and keep with Russell here, obviously, we need as many positions as we can get. But that Mercedes, you can see out of the corners, is unbelievable on traction, etc. He's carrying so much speed for all of these corners, you know. Russell's not making any mistakes, and whereas you can see we're going wide in all of these corners, even though we're on the softs and we're getting no traction whatsoever. advancing far into the race, lap 28, the penultimate lap. You can see on the bottom corner our tyres are orange warning, and Schumacher's making a move on us well, even with overtake, but we make a gorgeous switchback. There was no way he was going to be able to defend from that short shift, and that save all of the power we need, and we rocket out in that corner. You can see Russell ahead of Alonso now, 10 seconds up the road. I tried to keep him with him as much as we could, but these softs just wore out way too quick. Even after lap 23, 24, the hards had surpassed the pace that these could hold. So now it's just going to be a matter of parking the bus. P12. After all of the action that's happened in this race, the 3 safety cars, all of our drama, all of our overtakes, all of our defending, our desperation in this race is finally paying off though. You can see that Schumacher has massive speed on us with DRS. There's not much we can do to defend, but we send it down the inside anyway. I'm not giving up this position to anyone in this race, even our teammate. Even if it was a Red Bull behind, we're going to try and keep it behind, and we managed to get DRS as well, because we were behind it with DRS protection because of Schumacher's overspeed, and we blocked Stroll coming from the inside, but he's on medium compared to everyone else who's on hard, so he might be able to make a move around the outside, but we get better traction than him anyway. By now these tyres are about 71-72% worn on the last lap, so we're going to just park the bus. You can see lap 11 because someone pit on the last lap. That's 1 point away, 1 position away from points on our first race. You can see in the bottom corner 75% on the rears. Stroll trying to get past us, but we're going to use overtake to the line, and it's P11 in our first ever race.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Thanks to a car behind getting a penalty though, however, we've managed to get P10. That is a point in our first ever race. 3 safety cars, all of our desperation into some of the corners. You can see Ferrari getting the win, Leclerc taking the win at his first ever Grand Prix, much like real life. That was a crazy race. All of the
I have to give it to
drama
Roberts.
that
They did a
happened in
great
that
job at
race led
getting the
up to
most
us
out of their
getting
tyres
points
without losing
in
pace.
our first ever race, which is absolutely incredible. I did not see that coming from our pace in qualifying at the start of the race. We were down to last at one point of the running cars, but we get first. Not first, sorry, 10th. But it feels like a first after everything that happened in that race. I am very happy, but unfortunately the engine upgrade failed for the next race, so we're gonna have our engine troubles as well. We're gonna look through quickly. Driver standards. I still can't believe that we got 10th. We got a point in our first ever race, which was completely unexpected, thanks to the car ahead getting a penalty, Bottas pitting on the last penultimate lap. Sorry. Um, it's ridiculous. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you all have a very good day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.